Hey everybody, welcome back to Mystifying Miracles. I'm Kristen, and I search out the true stories every week that contain a miracle, or two or three or more. So if you like that and you like good endings that are actually from people's experiences, listen along and we're going to get started. This is about a woman named Laura and her family. She had 2 kids and a husband, and she was blessed to be able to stay home because her husband made enough income to pay the bills so that she'd be able to do that. They weren't rich by any means, but normally they were doing okay. So there did come up times throughout life where they struggled a bit, or, they didn't have enough to make ends meet. But when those times would arise, they'd give it to God. They knew He was a provider. He'd always get them out of those pinches. There'd never been a time that He hadn't. So that's kind of the setup for this story. Well, there came an October where they had just enough to eke by, pay all the bills that they needed to get done, and there was nothing left over, meaning there was no groceries for 2 weeks because he wouldn't get his next paycheck for 2 more weeks. Laura could panic, have anxiety. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How are we going to feed the kids? She did not go there. She thought, okay, I'm going to compose myself for a second here. She gave it to God like she always did. She said, God, we need help. Prayed, let all that sink in. She knew He would provide somehow, some way, but she wasn't going to get herself in a tizzy, all worried and fretting. And, there was just no need for that. That would just make the situation worse. Well, Monday rolls around, and wouldn't you know it, her parents, Laura's, invited them over to dinner. She says they ate that night chicken, green beans, carrots, mashed potatoes with gravy. I'm getting hungry. Anyway, they had a great dinner at her parents' house. And so that was a blessing. Laura and her husband didn't have to worry about coming up with a way to feed themselves that night. Tuesday rolls around, and Laura's friend invites her family over to have dinner. And Laura says to this day they are the best meatballs she has ever tasted. Her friend made spaghetti and meatballs. The family loved it. It was an Italian night, and it was great. So another blessing showed up for them. Wednesday rolls around, and Laura goes out on her front porch are 8 bags of groceries. Laura's wondering, where did these come from? How in the world? But she wasn't going to complain about it, of course. Thursday rolls around, and Laura's cousin Kathy invites her and the family out on her treat to a place called Pat's Pizza. The kids, of course, loving that. So they had another dinner provided for. All week long, people called the day of and invited them to dinner, out to dinner, and they didn't have to worry. Plus the 8 bags of groceries, of course, that's always handy. Now, at first, after this week, Laura thought about it and she was like, I hadn't told anybody. She didn't even tell her parents the predicament they were in, not having money for groceries. She only told one friend, and that happened to be the lady that made the awesome meatballs. So she was like, how? She's like, it had to have been the friend that bought the groceries then. So Laura called her up to thank her for the groceries, only to find out that it wasn't the friend. She didn't do it. So then Laura thought, oh, she probably called the church. That's what it was. And they sent people to give us groceries as a gift. That's it. So she asked her friend. The friend denied that too, said, no, I haven't spoken to anybody about this. But because Laura wanted so badly to know who this was, how, the friend finally did say, she was like, well, I was home the day of this when the groceries arrived that Wednesday. She said that a car, with a few friends of hers came by just unannounced, and they had 8 bags of groceries with them. And they told Laura's friend, well, we thought you could use these. Well, Laura's friend wasn't struggling and she didn't need them. So she told the friends that showed up, appreciate that. That was so nice, but I don't need these. I do know somebody that does, though. And she told them about Laura, and she gave them Laura's address. Now, the group of friends, they didn't ask questions. They didn't care. They just wanted these to be a blessing to somebody that needed them. So they did. They took the groceries to Laura's, dropped them off on the porch, and left real quick. They just wanted to be a blessing. They didn't want Laura and the family to know who gave them all that stuff. But, God did. He took care of Laura's family in a time of need. And there was no need for stress or worry or fretting or trying to run around, take care of everything on your own till you're in a frizzy, you know what I mean? We all get there. We've all been there. I just love how they gave it to the Lord. And he did. He showed up every day providing. They didn't know from day to day, what are we going to do? But they didn't stay in that worried state. They gave it to God. And every day people showed up, whether it was friends, family, cousins, and dinners were provided for, plus the groceries. That's just amazing, guys. If anything, I know it's short and simple, if you think about it, but it really is more than that, because what I took it as in my life, it's a reminder, because sometimes I do get caught up in my own thoughts and I think, oh gosh, what am I going to do now? How am I going to pay that? Oh gosh, my car. Oh gosh, all the things that we think about on a daily basis, right? Especially in this economy right now. It's a reminder to give it to God. The world, would have us believe that, oh, that's lazy. You got to take care of you first. And, no one's going to take care of you but you. You know what I mean? I know we've all heard that. Heck, there's been many times I believed that in my life and lived that way, and it never worked out. Never. Something always bad would happen, or I'd be miserable, or I'd be depressed, or I'd be, just emotionally unstable. So it's just easier, in my opinion, and how I want to live, to give it to the Lord. Give it to him. I know it's hard, especially if you've never done it or haven't done it in a long time. You think, ooh, that's scary. I'm so used to taking care of myself. You know what I mean? But no, if you can step out on just a little tiny mustard seed of faith, give it to him. He will show you amazing things. For instance, I never thought I'd be doing this. I've always wanted to do it for years and years, but I never thought I'd have the courage to actually do it. This channel, talking to you guys, it's my passion, and I'm fulfilled for the first time in my life. It's just little things that you just give to him, no matter what it is. Financial, relationships, whatever. Give it to God. Don't carry all that. That's just going to weigh you down. You know what I mean? I don't know. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know. Are you struggling? Or, hey, have you been doing this and been having little miracles and provision showing up for you and your family? I love hearing that stuff, so let me know. Other than that, guys, I just appreciate you watching, and I'm very blessed, very appreciative. I'm going to see you guys for the next one. Have a great week.